I, I want to jump into this really quick, right? Because you gotta wake up every day and have a smile on your face, right? When you get up in the morning, you something has to excite you. I'm just welcoming you back to No Excuses Presents the Ray Lewis Show. I'm just in one of those moods today, right? Just it's like, when do you wake up and you're like, okay, everything else is on my plate. So what should I focus on? I'm gonna challenge you to focus on your smile today. Focus on letting nobody take your smile away from you today. Welcome back. If this is your first time, hey, buckle up. If you're used to coming back, thank you for all you do for us and all the questions. It's been absolutely amazing. We won't have a guest. We won't have Vic on today, but I just wanted to jump right into game time because I'm telling you, I'm doing so much right now. I'm traveling around the world and I'm doing so much. And I'll tell you, week 3, my goodness, my goodness. I'm telling you, I have to make sure that I keep my blood pressure down because when I watch these games, like I'm losing my mind when I'm watching these games. But I'm sure a lot of us seen the Ravens against the Chiefs, and wow, what a football game, right? And from the perspective of kind of what we're going to go into when I bring Coach on a little later, Lamar Jackson is 0-3, the Ravens 0-3 against the Kansas City Chiefs. How do you overcome that, right? Injuries everywhere on the Ravens football team, right? Every doubter, oh, Lamar is not elite, and all of these different things. How do you change that? This is what today is about. How do you change that? You take a risk. Lamar Jackson made up his mind in the fourth quarter of that game to go for it. He could have done the opposite, which is punt the ball and let Patrick Mahomes go back downfield and see if they could get a field goal. But he said, go for it. He took a risk. And I'm telling you, in my life, in the game of football, just like the game of life, we're going to get into this really quick because I want to show you guys how sports really integrates a lot with life. Because it's really about, if he didn't take that risk, then you're putting the controls in Patrick Mahomes' hand. And I don't know too many people that want to sit back and watch that, but I'm telling you, one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. And I have been getting so many just DMs and texts and everything about, me coming out doing the dance and watching guys' reaction. But you got to remember, those guys were in Pampers when I was doing what I was doing. So they were babies. So for them to get to see that personally, man, it's just all respect. But I tell you, we're gonna jump into it because this week has been incredible for me. I've been crushing the bike. I got some really special things coming up that I'm gonna introduce to the whole world of No Excuses and things. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I need to get to my man. We got lots to talk about. We're not going to be quick today. We're going to drop this knowledge off. We in, we out. Coach, get in here immediately. I did not say immediately. I said immediately.
Oh, man. Good day, bro. How you feeling?
I am absolutely amazing, brother. I'm telling you, Coach, you know how we wake up some days and you wake up just with that energy. I got that.
Yeah. Hey, man, we got started this morning at 5:30, man. And, man, we put in some work this morning, brother, and I'm feeling good. It's like someone said, it's that natural caffeine. But all of those getting them workouts, man, the best feeling in the world is getting that workout out the way early to start your day off, man. What a wonderful feeling. But let's talk about you coming out of that tunnel for a minute. Bro, how did that feel, man? The last time you came out that tunnel, we thought it was the Colts game, the playoff game. How'd that feel to come back and, you came back in the parade and did it. But, man, that was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago, bro. Look, man, it's it's sometimes it's overwhelming, right? Because you come out this tunnel and you realize that this is that thing, right? Everybody waits on and looks forward to, right? But it's been such a long stint since it happened. And so when the Ravens called me and said, "Hey man, we need you to come out and do your thing," right? But to do it, when you come out that tunnel now, how I'm gonna give it to them now. Sugar.
Yeah, man, you still in shape and everything.
Oh man, they ask Sugar to dance now. Sugar gonna dance.
Hey man, they like, look, man, Ray looked like he still was ready to play. I'm like, little do they know, if it wasn't for that toe, boy, we got a couple of series left up in us, man. But I was so proud, man, and really proud of the organization and really, man, those leaders. That principle you're talking about today, man, taking risk. Yes. And remember now, it's a difference between taking risk and just being reckless. We're not talking about that. But true leadership demands that you take risk.
Yes, sir.
So if you're dealing with yourself, dealing with your goals, your vision, hey, we could just stick with the game. It's 4th and 1. Like you said earlier, if you punt it, that's the risk you're going to take. You might lose and be in the same situation you was in prior to that, losses. But when you take that risk and you go for it, man, it's no better feeling than coming out on the other side of it. It's almost like with life, like you really need to take this risk with this thing. And man, you never know what it feels like until you're on the other side, man. So our principle today is simple, man, taking risk. There was a quote a long time ago that said, progress involves risk. You can't steal second base and keep your foot on first. At some point, you got to take that risk and go for it, man, and don't look back, man. So to all our championship mentality team out there today, all of our people that's joining us again, somebody may be at that 4th and 1 in their life. 4th and 1 with making a decision whether they should move forward with something, whether they should leave a job. Hey, just know that everything in life is a risk. Every time you leave your house in your car, it's a risk. Everything is a risk. Every investment that you make, if you make an investment, it's a risk. Relationships, a risk. Having children, a risk. Everything in life is a risk. You just got to, like we talked about last week, not be so comfortable in that comfort zone where you don't get outside of it and take risks to move forward. Not talking about just taking risks to take risks, but I'm going to take this leap of faith. I'm going to take this jump to see what's on the other side.
Because, listen, the big think about this, right? And we talk about this all the time because this is exactly what you're saying, right? Just like the 4th and 1, right? Think about the biggest risk we can take is doing nothing at all. That's the biggest risk you'll ever take, right? Because if you do nothing at all, you do not determine that outcome, right? So now you have to watch somebody else take the risk. Bro, let me tell you something. It's something about today that I want someone who's listening today to understand this one simple thing. If you do nothing, you give somebody else the opportunity to do what you should have done. It's that simple. It's that simple in life. And that's what one of the biggest things we must understand is sometimes we must take the risk or risk losing the chance. Now, I'm gonna go into your world, right? Think about the risk you took 20 years ago when you walked away from the banking system and you said, "I'm done with this," and you took a risk on leaving the banking system, and we met. But if you never take the risk of leaving the banking system, me and you never meet. Maybe.
No, and I'm probably some type of manager in the promotion chain, but it was scary. And so when we talking about taking risks, remember one of our principles was courage. And if you don't have fear, then you can't really exhibit courage. So it's okay to fear that. But when you talk about me being in my job at the bank, I was comfortable. I could have stayed there, and by any means necessary telling people to leave their job. There people got families out there, different situations. But for me, that was my 4th and 1 in life. Do I stay here and be somewhere that I don't like and work around people that really don't care for me. And only thing I was getting in return was a paycheck. And I took a risk, man. And like you said, if I didn't take that risk on my 4th and 1 in life, then I wouldn't be here right now. There's so it was wonderful to impact people at the bank. Yeah. I mean, I was on the management team. I was comfortable. I managed a great group of people, man, wonderful people, even to this day that I follow. But just being able to impact thousands around the world, man, is a whole nother level. But
watch this, T, because this is interesting. And a lot of people, a lot of us know, a lot of you guys know my story. But I want to be very slow when I explain this. Every opportunity that I've had from high school, college to the National Football League, I was never picked first. I was never chosen as that person. So let me tell you where my risk was. My risk was, even though I was not chosen, in my quiet times, I took the risk of always being prepared. Just so when the moment happens, I will never lose it ever again. That's why I always say, if you lose your job to me, you will never get it back, because I took the risk as a second teamer, right? I was behind people, but I took the risk to go in every day and bust my behind every day and wasn't even the starter. So when I became the starter, see, now we're talking about risk versus reward, right? Because now my risk paid off, right? To a point to where anybody else that's out there that's sitting in a position where you're like, I haven't been given a chance. I haven't, it's been taken away from me. A lot of people in sports, right? You're in the second team, you're on the third team, you're on practice squad, whatever it may be. You can be at a bank, you can be at a hospital, whatever you are. If you want to do something and you really want to change your life, your biggest decision is take the risk while you're not in the number one position. Yeah.
And here's a tip for our team out there, man. Focus on the other side more than so much the courage and the pain it may take for you to take that risk. Think about what's on the other side. Yeah. In the case of the Ravens, that 4th and 1, man, you make that yard, man, we win.
We win.
Boom. I go on the other side. I take that risk of leaving the bank. Wow. On the other side of that, wow, I walked into my purpose. There's some people that are afraid to leave their town they're in, the city they grew up in. It's a risk. You're used to it. But man, if you just go outside of it sometime, there may be another side of life that you just needed exposure to. I have a lot of family that has never flown an airplane, man. Look, you can get married, you can do whatever you want to. I'm not getting on no plane to this day. Yeah. And that's cool. But if they take the risk and get on a plane, they may see another side of the world that they've never seen before. And gain that exposure. And it adds meaning to life. So when you're going through these risks, focus on the reward. Focus on that other side, and that'll help pull you through a little bit.
Yeah, listen here. Take risk. Listen to this. Because if you win, you will be happy. But when you lose, you will be wise. I took more risk and failed way more times than I succeeded. But what happened in my losses, I became wiser to always think, I'm not doing that a second time. I'm not going that route again. I have the route that I now know that's not the route to go. I'm gonna tell you something. Think about this, see. Being authentic requires both courage and humility. Watch this. But it means facing our fear of exposure, rejection, or being hurt again. So the question becomes, why would anyone take such a risk? Because it's the only way to grow spiritually and become emotionally healthy. It's the only way. It's the greatest lessons you will ever learn is the losses, because you grow from that. The person you become, the mature person that you become, to stand up, to raise your hand in a meeting and say, Coach, that's my fault. I missed that tackle. Coach, it's my fault. I didn't make that play. It's my fault. I didn't turn in my schoolwork. I didn't finish what I was supposed to finish. If you take blame off of everybody else and put blame purely on yourself, there's something to be found in what we call wisdom. The only way to bump into wisdom is you must spend enough time with knowledge. And knowledge is only do's and don'ts. Watch it happen or make it happen. That's the only two routes in life, right? There are people, when you think about sports, right? And you say, oh my gosh, this guy made a great play. Either he made the play or somebody else did not stop him from making the play. That's the risk. That's the risk that you take every day of your life. And wisdom is found in taking those risks, understanding the reward is a lifetime.
Yeah, man. Just piggybacking off last week, man, let's continue to stay out that comfort zone.
Yeah.
And let's continue to take risks. Let's focus on the other side of it once we conquer it and take those risks. Yeah. True leaders, true leadership demands that you take risks and progress. Talking about progress, moving forward, whether it comes to working out or with your personal life, it's going to always involve some type of risk if you need to move forward. So good day to y'all. Hope you're having a good week. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Coach, always my brother. I appreciate you. Love for life. Be good. I hit you in a few. I got to get this energy out of me right now. I got a lot of work to do today.
All right, let's go.
I got to take me some risks today. Look, you think about the purpose of why you get up every day, right? Every day you leave your house, you take a risk. Every day that you choose to be better, you take a risk. Every day you choose to get out your comfort zone, you take a risk. Every day a leader decides to lead, you take a risk. Vice versa, every day a follower gets up to follow, you take a risk. The whole point is, today, what will your risk be? What are you willing to risk for a better life? What are you willing to risk to take your life not to the next level, but to the level that you should have been years ago? A lot of us has been at the same place for a long time, simply because we won't take the risk. Sometimes the risk is when you got a lot of money, it's not to make more money. It's to take the risk to become a better person. That takes a lot every day, day in and day out. If you don't do nothing this week, do yourself a favor. Find out what risk will help you become better and wiser in life. Understanding that every day we take a risk. God bless you. Thank you for joining. No excuses. It's simple. No excuses not to take a risk. Ray Lewis Show, no excuses. It gets no better. We will see you next week, and we're back at it next week. And these NFL games are going crazy. So we're going to get back on that next week. But this week, we just had to stay focused. But next week, we're going to get back all into this. It's early in the season, so that we're going to just buckle up and let it play out. But there's a bunch of risk that's being taken in all of these games. And the ones who's willing to stick their neck on the line, like the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson, he took a risk. Hell of an reward. God bless you all. Take care.